Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful day so far, and welcome back to Imperfect Politics. I got a good one for you today. Pierre Poilievre came out today doing a comment during an interview that he's going to force a confident vote. So, we're going to watch that off of CPAC, and then possibly later today, if I get it out, we'll do one where the Liberals react. So, after this quick plug, we'll start. If you like this video, if you could subscribe. Anyways, with no further ado, let's get into it.
After 9 years of this,
In English.
after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, they've doubled the debt, doubled housing costs, caused the worst inflation in 40 years, sent 2 million people to the food bank, unleashed crime and chaos in our communities. That's why it's time to put forward a motion for a carbon tax election. A carbon tax election needed because the NDP Liberals plan to hike the carbon tax by 300%, all the way to 61 cents a litre, which would cripple our economy, put hundreds of thousands of people out of jobs, mean empty shelves at grocery stores. We need a carbon tax election so Canadians can vote to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime with a common sense.
Which Canadians have been asking for forever, but the Liberals keep saying that Canadians aren't looking for an election right now because we're really struggling, which doesn't make sense. But yeah, the carbon tax has already gone up. How many times? 4 times already, and we've already been seeing the CPI index increasing every single year exponentially, and we've been seeing Justin Trudeau sending on X the inflation chart of it going down, down, down. Yet the consumer price index is just spiking massively. So if you want to see that on X, guys can go to my channel. But let's get back into this.
Conservative government.
Hasn't the bloc
Finished, if I could just finish. The decision will be up to Jagmeet Singh and the NDP. Are they going to vote to keep this costly carbon tax prime minister in power? Are they going to sell out again, or are they going to vote to trigger a carbon tax election so that Canadians can choose to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime? And I also call on the NDP, don't wait for the bloc to bail you out.
You need
Announce
the bloc,
your
though,
position on this motion to trigger a carbon tax election now. You have the motion, it's in your inbox, we're emailing it to him now, and all of you will have that motion for a carbon tax election, which you'll see is very direct, very simple, and provides Canadians hope that we can bring home the country that we knew and love, where we axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the
Monsieur Poilievre, le gouvernement.
It's kind of interesting how he didn't really take any questions during that, but also in the House when they were putting this motion through, they didn't say, the Conservatives didn't say that it would be a vote of no confidence because of the carbon tax. It was a vote of no confidence in the government, and that's it. So the reason why that's pretty interesting is because it kind of puts the NDP in a weird place, because when the NDP came out and they said, oh, we're going to stop the supply and confidence agreement, they said that they don't have any confidence that the government will go against massive corporations and tax them more, and they don't have any confidence that they'll help the working people. So if they don't have any confidence in that, but still vote to keep them in power when there's a non-confidence vote going on, that means they're all hypocrites, not hypocrites. That means that they're all liars, or whoever on the NDP side doesn't vote for a no-confidence vote. Now, on the bloc side, who knows who the bloc's going to vote for? I don't think they're going to vote no confidence because the only way they have power is in a minority government, and we're looking at a blue wave coming the next election. So, but I also don't see the Liberals putting through any of the what would you call it? The conditions that the Bloc had for them to keep their vote. So we'll see what happens. After this, since we still got time, and this is pretty quick, I got a National Post for you about the non-confidence vote. So this just in, on the National Post, the answer is no. Bloc Québécois to vote against non-confidence motion next week. And this is by Catherine Levesque and Ryan Tumulty. The non-confidence motion is scheduled for a vote, but needs NDP or Bloc to pass. So yeah, just like I said, this is the only way the Bloc has any power in Parliament. So I assume they'd probably vote no against this non-confidence motion. They're willing to put Canada through more turmoil and more pain for Quebec, pretty much, in their view. In Ottawa. In the end, the election suspense in Ottawa was short-lived, and the Liberals can thank the Quebec separatists for that. Mere hours after the Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre said he would attempt to trigger an election by putting forward a motion of no confidence in the House of Commons, Bloc Québécois leader Yves François Blanchet told reporters his party will not support it. So, there you go. He said, "We already had those conversations many times, and this motion contains absolutely nothing. It essentially says, do what you want to replace Justin Trudeau with Pierre Poilievre. So the answer is no. That does not even make any sense. Like, that statement doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I don't even know how to reply to that. So, Poilievre said he would be tabling a motion of no confidence next Tuesday. And we already watched that. The Bloc had already said that it would not vote for a motion of no confidence that would include any motion of a carbon tax. But they didn't include the carbon tax in it. If anybody's listening to this from Quebec, just know that if you voted for Bloc Québécois, that you voted for a party who wants the carbon tax on you, even though everybody remember that Quebec doesn't have a carbon tax because they have an interesting form of pricing their gas. But just know that you're voting for a separatist party that doesn't care about the rest of Canada. So if you like that and you don't care about the rest of Canada and just care about yourselves, hey, good job, I guess. But I assume from the Quebecers that I've talked to and the people I've talked to, I can't really say no, they actually care about people outside Canada and actually care about making this a better place. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell. The Bloc had already said that it would not vote for a motion of no confidence that would include any mention of the carbon tax, as I already stated before. So Poilievre's motion simply reads, "The House of no confidence in the Prime Minister and the government." Blanchet compared the move to asking the Conservatives to vote non-confidence against the federal government because it was not promoting Quebec independence. Huh? Sorry, I have to think about that. So, tell me, guys, in the comments below what you think the Bloc Québécois is referring to and how they equate that to Pierre Poilievre saying that he's putting a motion of no confidence because there's no confidence in the government, because at multiple times the Bloc Québécois and the NDP have said that they have no confidence that Liberals will do this or that or such. So, they go on to say, but he said he is reasonably confident that he can strike a deal with the Liberals to increase the old age security for seniors above the age of 65 years old. As things stand right now, the government has only boosted pensions for seniors above 75 years old. Well, Quebecers, as long as your guys are going to pay for it and your province is going to pay for it, I'm fine with that. Because if that goes through, people in my age bracket, Gen Z and Gen Alpha and some of Gen X are going to be taxed up the nose for that pension. And we're going to have a worse quality of life just so you guys can have a bigger pension. So, just because, I don't know, I like at 65, you should have saved up enough money to last 10 years to 75 and get a bigger pension. I'm sorry, it hurts, but that's life. You can't expect the younger generations to get taxed up the nose and to have less of quality of life just because you didn't save up enough and didn't plan well enough for that 10 years between 65 and 75. It shouldn't be that way. They go on to say, the Bloc has long argued that this is discrimination for people of ages 65 to 74, and said in recent days that a change of heart on this file would guarantee his party's support. It is discrimination against young people, because it's taking money away from hardworking young folk to give to old people from 65 to 74. When those people in that age bracket, when they were younger, were they taxed the same? No, they were not. So how is that fair? How is this not discrimination? So this is how the Bloc is. They don't understand this concept. The NDP just recently ripped up its, whatever. I'm not reading that because we have already went through Jake Meat's whole thing. Scrolling. On Wednesday, Conservatives and Liberals were pressing NDP leader Jagmeet Singh to say if his party was either going to move for or against the non-confidence motion. The decision will be up to Jagmeet Singh and the NDP, says Pierre Poilievre. They're going to vote to keep this costly carbon tax prime minister in power? Are they going to sell it again, or are they going to trigger a carbon tax election? Singh said earlier this week that his party will take a close look at each vote. We don't need to read that. We don't have to read what Jagmeet Singh said, because we've already gone through like 2 hours listening to him spiel the exact same talking points. And now it's just getting irritating. Liberals know that the stakes are very high for the NDP now that the Pharmacare Act is in the final stage of the Senate. The legislation, which also makes contraceptives and diabetes medication free in Canada, could be adopted as soon as Thanksgiving weekend. This is another thing that ticks me off. You're putting in Pharmacare medication that is not actually just medication. It's why is there contraceptives involved in that? It only helps half the population. Women don't need contraceptives. There's things called condoms. And I don't think that Pharmacare covers that, so men still have to pay for that stuff. So that's great. I have a theory why they're including contraception is because they want to have every single young woman be on contraception so they can be out in the workforce from 8 to 8, 12-hour days, so they can work just like men, so they can have that all that tax money instead of having families and staying home with their kids long term, only working part time and actually like being happy. That doesn't help the liberals any. That doesn't help the government any. The government doesn't get tax money from mothers staying home and only working part time because they want to actually enjoy time with their kids. They go on to say, the government House Leader Karina Gold says there are consequences from the NDP pulling out of the deal. This is real. This is not a game. The fact of the matter is that what we do in this place matters, and it has real and tangible consequences on the lives of Canadians. Yes, it does. You're right. And, well, she's right. And I don't think she really cares about the consequences too much. Because how many ethics scandals has Justin Trudeau been in since he's been in power? He's been in more ethics scandals than any prime minister. And now, when it's coming to the end of the Liberals' reign in Canada, they're saying that all the other parties are treating politics like a game. It's ridiculous. What Mr. Singh did when he backed away from the supply and confidence agreement, which was his decision, is it demonstrated that, again, he didn't understand what the consequences were. Well, he probably didn't understand the consequences, to be completely honest. He probably just didn't want to be kept calling sellout Singh. We're gonna watch a lot of this stuff later on CPAC, what the Liberals feel about this. So, Mark Holland, who previously served as Liberal House Leader, said negotiations are part of what happens in a minority parliament. He said that with a minority government's likely to happen more often. Politicians will need to adapt. Do we want them to be a festival of partisanship, where it's a non-stop circus of ego and interest, or do we want them to be substantive, about sitting down and working through the problems of the country, not just jumping to an election every time something gets hard? It's not hard. It's not hard. I don't think the Liberals really understand that it's not that things are hard. It's things are impossible in Canada right now. You're seeing an uptick in people saying they want to leave Canada because they'll never be able to retire. They'll never be able to own a home. You're seeing immigrants who spent so much money just to get here, and now they're planning on leaving because it's too expensive. Me, myself, I'm about to make some videos on leaving Canada because for me, it's not too expensive for me, but I can't see myself retiring in Canada. So I have to set up this stuff that way. And I don't want to, except, well, there are other things too, which they don't mention in here, right? Every summer there's more and more forest fires for longer and longer amounts of time. You can really only afford a house in Edmonton or rural areas, places where you can't really get good jobs. Calgary, you can hardly afford an apartment anymore or find one. And things are just getting more and more dangerous in the cities. Canada's not what it used to be. And that's why people are saying it's quote-unquote bad. Other Liberals shrugged at the idea of a confidence vote next week. Well, the Conservatives are going to do that every chance they get, said MP Ryan Turnbull. And National Resource Minister Jonathan Wilkinson said he thinks it's important to get this first one out of the way. Well, I don't know what to tell you. They'll probably, just like the resource minister said, get this first one out of the way, because I don't see the Bloc Québécois or the NDP voting for a non-confidence vote. The NDP aren't going to do it because they're too ideologically attached to the left that they just could never fathom voting with the Conservatives. And like I said about the Bloc, they finally got power, and they're going to hold on to it for their lives. And they don't care about the rest of Canada. So, but what do you guys think? Do you think the non-confidence vote will go through and we might go to an election this October? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, if you like this video, please subscribe to the video. Or subscribe to the channel. I hope to get up to 500 subscriptions by the end of this month, so then I can start doing live streams and super chats with you guys, and we can start doing that with parliamentary sessions. So that'll be fun. Other than that, that's all I got for you. Have a great day.